Cool. So welcome to PlebLab. Probably everybody's been here before. It's my second time, but so this is Branta. Really excited to share with you today. I've broken the slides into kind of 4 sections. And so the first part, I just want to talk about why I entered Bitcoin and the vision that I see for Branta. And then I want to get into why Branta is kind of turning into a UX company, ultimately. From there, we'll get into some tech and some motivation, and then share some traction with you. All right, so vision for Branta. Why are we here? So everybody knows final settlement is it's revolutionary, right? And we're very lucky because we have a lot of academic theory to build on now, right? So store value, medium of exchange, unit of account. That's the goal. Like, just cut to the chase. And so for those of you that don't know me, I used to work at Bloomberg. It was great. I don't work there anymore. And when I left Bloomberg, I said, okay, let me try and contribute to Bitcoin. And what I saw was that the store of value kind of layer, I felt there was good solutions and good people working on those, right? So there's probably a few companies you can think of off the top of your head. So good solutions there. Now what I didn't see as much were companies really dialed in on the medium of exchange. And so I felt like I could hopefully contribute to this avenue, and then eventually we'll get to unit of account. Maybe sooner than later. And so our mission at Branta is to enhance Bitcoin as medium of exchange, period. And so I'll talk to you today about our flagship product, Guardrail. And really, Guardrail is becoming UX for money, Bitcoin specifically. And this is the stack. So the bottom 2 items here are new. You're going to be seeing them for the first time today. And the top one is really Branta's bread and butter, which is payment verification. So again, very UX focused for this angle. So let's talk about payment verification. Bitcoin's perfect money, but it doesn't have a perfect UX yet, right? So one thing that haunts me at night is, you learn about Bitcoin and you onboard your loved ones. And then they get a Bitcoin deposit form or maybe an inbound invoice. And they don't have a way to tell if that is legitimate or not, right? So most platforms today, do you have a second source to verify where your money's actually going? And so this kept me up at night. It didn't feel good, it didn't feel right. And obviously this is because you can't get a refund in Bitcoin, right? Once you transact, it's done, it's over. And so very different than fiat, Bitcoin's very much a push system. So you push your money. And if you get the destination wrong, it's game over. Fiat pull is perhaps used more than push, in fact. But in Bitcoin, when you send your money, there's no refunds. And so this is what payment verification aims to help in the industry. And so with this, obviously mistakes are one-shots, not good. We've all heard the stories. And in the industry, after talking to a lot of really talented people, the last mile problem really describes this perfectly. So the point is, again, you can study Bitcoin for 10,000 hours. You can tell everybody you know about it. And then you can even set up 2 of 3 with the best hardware solutions, the best multi-sig providers. But at the last minute, a Chrome extension can change your address in the browser. And that bothers me because I know a lot of people we don't look at our browser with scrutiny, but we should, right? Because Bitcoin is digital scarcity, and the tools that we use to interact with Bitcoin were all predating this, pre-digital scarcity. So your browser's not meant for this. There's a bunch of other examples as well. And so this probably looks familiar. This is a Lightning Bounty's deposit form. And when you interact with Bitcoin, often you see what? You see a QR code, and then you see a stringified version of either a Bolt 11, SegWit, legacy address, whatever it may be. And then the human, us, we interact with this, right? So what's new here is on the bottom text, if you can read, the text says verify invoice Branta. You can hover over that, and you can click it. And what happens? Boom, you get red or you get green. Red means this is not verified, but green in this case means your address is verified. And so something's working, right? This is a new concept though. And so what Lightning Bounties has done by adopting Branta is empower every single user a second touch point to verify their address. And so if there were, say, something in the network stack, the operating system, anywhere in the runtime, including all of our favorite browser extensions, one bad NPM package can swap that address. But with this, your users can verify. But what's interesting is this is frictionless, so this is not necessary with this current implementation, but it's optional for your users. And if you click the logo, you can see Lightning Bounties has been verified since block whatever. This is for all of our clients. And so that's the link. But what happens if you're scanning the QR? Well, we all have iPhones or Androids or Graphene or whatever we have, right? So you can scan the QR and you can see the same thing. Now this is a whole different can of worms because all of a sudden you can go on a different device. Say your computer's it's wrecked for whatever reason, but your wife is next to you or your friend, you can use their phone to scan the invoice. And if their device is not compromised, you'll show green or red. And you can do this with any device without leaking privacy. So this is the future we really envision at Branta is frictionless, non-privacy leaking payment verification. And this is really, really small here. So this was kind of our first product, actually. I'll go through this very quick, but this is MIT open source code. It's a desktop app, totally optional. But this watches the clipboard and tells you when you copy any Bitcoin-related string, bolt 11, at whatever address, that, hey, in your memory, in your clipboard cache is a Bitcoin address. Right, so we're working on this. It's kind of on the back burner for now. And so what does this really mean for all of us, and more importantly for consumers that are adopting Bitcoin? What it means is that I hope we can start using the term trustless front ends, right? And like I said, your front end is basically quicksand, and everything I'm talking about is your phone, the screen, the browser, all the packages there, the Wi-Fi stack, the ISP. I don't trust any of it, and I don't want other people to have to trust it either. So from any phone, any laptop, you can do this nearly instantly. And so you kind of attack the problem from a different angle by using Branta. I've kind of gone over this, but the model that we've landed on, it took a long time because our constraints were that we don't want additional software for users, right? We don't want users to have to sign up. We want to put that work on the platform. And so when Branta partners with another company, the work is on us. The onus is on us. So there's one click for the users, but there's no setup for the users. There's no personal data, and it's actually optional. So this is very cool. And you can imagine maybe a common UI on a cell phone, right? You pick your favorite Bitcoin app, you copy the address, you see the first date, the last date. But what's really going on in your clipboard? And on the iPhone, the clipboard goes through iCloud every single time you copy something if you're online. So that's really brutal. Like if you're running Branta desktop and then you go on an iPhone, log into the same account, you copy from one of your favorite iPhone apps an address, and then on your Mac, you can get a notification, hey, in your iCloud clipboard, which you just leaked everywhere, is this certain SegWit address. So anyways, let's move on here. Yeah, and what does this do for your platform? Well, one, you empower your clients with a tool they didn't have before. We think that's great, with zero friction for them, and you actually protect, as a business owner, your platform against downside, right? So imagine that there was a 0-day in Mac OS, like Heartbleed or Spectre through Intel. That's a problem for your platform potentially, especially as Bitcoin rises in value. And so by running Branta, your users actually are empowered to double check before they push their value through space-time. Okay, so anyways, that's payment verification. That's what we want to introduce. But with this, we've had a lot of conversations with customers to understand how this model fits their business, where are the needs. And one topic that kept coming up was compliance of some sort. So this ranges from businesses wanting to expand jurisdictionally, maybe get on a registered platform and raise institutional VC. And yeah, this word kept coming up. Hey, we're expanding, we're pursuing licenses, we need some sort of AML solution, right? Because we want to expand and be compliant. And so because you're here at PlebLab, official press release is coming next month, but you're going to hear it here first. Branta is partnering with Amboss to bring this under guardrail payment verification. For those companies that opt in, we'll be able to have this solution. So more coming officially. You can ask me any questions at the end. Yeah, we'll keep moving, but like I said, feel free to ask me anything. We'll leave time for questions. And so on the same note, now I'm looking out at the crowd, another topic that kept coming up and that, that we need really as Bitcoin companies is Bitcoin native accounting. So we did not build this out because we have John and Aaron in the crowd actually building clams. Just to cut to the chase here, Branta, we kept getting asked about this sort of thing and just having conversations in the space. And so Branta and Clams are teaming up to bring Bitcoin native accounting to companies that use Guardrail as well. And this will all be under one API for companies that want this feature. Yeah, so anyways, that's kind of part one. I'll fly through the second part, but that's our stack product and business-wise. So we think this is needed in the industry. Let's fast forward a year and see, I guess. Cool, so motivation. This section was actually named tech originally, and then I realized I strayed. So, okay, so there's an interesting slide on the next page, and then I want to drop 3 statements to kind of describe my mindset for builders in the Bitcoin space. Check it out. It's the Texas flag. No, it's actually the North Korean flag. Okay, so my message and my mindset is that generally assume actors are in your server, actors are in your client, and your customers are using your platform in the back of a Land Rover going to the airport because people are busy. And security is just it's not attractive. There's nothing attractive about security, right? So this is my mindset for all the builders in the space. And our mission is to help take that burden off of these great companies being built out, right? So your server's hacked, your clients are hacked, your customers are busy. It sounds terrible. And so, yeah, some very quick stats. 2023, the FBI reported over $5 billion in losses. This year, we're over $1 billion for sure in the space, and we're counting. And we want to fix this. And we think we have a quite good solution. So how are we doing on time, by the way? I don't know if do we have a time check? Yeah, we got a few more minutes, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so for this section, to be technical, we can view this a little bit black and white, even though the reality is more gray, right? So let's consider server-side compromises and client-side compromises. The reality is much more messy. Now, for the first set of businesses, server-side, maybe you're a company that moves large amounts of funds. Imagine an insured Bitcoin custodian, a 2 of 3 provider. Second set, imagine companies such as payment gateways, payment processors, much higher volume, much higher kind of customer footprint, but maybe lower value transactions. So let's kind of break it up this way. For the server, if you assume your server environment is compromised, you're actually starting from a really good position. You're starting from a position of humility and maybe honesty at some level, right? So whatever cloud provider you use doesn't matter. There's new ones coming out. But Guardrail comes in as an overlay solution. And we're not claiming to secure your server. We actually want to take the focus away from that, which is different than a lot of companies. But we view security in terms of green times and red times. And you as a company and a business owner, you might be green right now, and that's awesome. You should act on it. You should capitalize on it. If you are in a red state, that means you're already hacked. You're calling your security team, bad things are happening, your phone's ringing. But when you are in a green state, if you adopt Branta ahead of time, you can set this sort of stuff up. So between the server, we do IP whitelisting and server authentication. But imagine if you actually injected descriptors ahead of time, or 10 Bitcoin addresses ahead of time, 200 addresses ahead of time. All of a sudden, if your server gets compromised and starts spitting out bad addresses to your customers, it's very not good. I don't know how you trace this in real time. It's quite expensive to build those sort of systems. But by doing this ahead of time when you're in a green state, you really de-risk your entire platform. And it's a quite responsible thing to do on a number of levels. These are kind of minor points here. You can trace IPs, and your customers can potentially keep using your system in the event of a hack. Okay, so on the client side, let's see. Again, let's assume you have a relatively insecure client environment. Maybe somebody just bought an Android phone, they didn't put on Graphene, Calyx, or whatever. So I think as a business owner, it's very important to realize that your customers every day, it's just an onslaught of nonsense, right? It's phishing, it's fraud, you're getting inbound invoices. It's just terrible. Maybe L402 will help with this. I think SATs eventually will, streaming value. But for now, this is what we're facing. It's super annoying. On top of that, like I said, your customer's tech stack is really quicksand. Usually works, but there's a lot of ways to break it. We don't want to publicize those, but they're out there. And yeah, the point is that you don't want to take on the challenge of locking down your clients, your customers' front ends, right? And so what we want to do is we want to flip the conversation entirely on its head. And we want to defeat these client-side compromises through better UX, right? We want to take humans away from their computers and having to really dive and look like, is my phone secure? Is my laptop secure? I don't want to have to worry about Bitcoin. And so by having multiple inlays to an invoice, you can go to the actual source of truth on this platform, yes, but by introducing Branta, you have a second verified handshake ahead of time that customers can access very quickly without leaking data from other devices. All right. So traction, to date, we've processed thousands of Bolt 11s successfully, zero downtime, and more importantly, a lot of great Bitcoin companies are in talks and piloting right now. So we're very excited to share more later this year, but that's perhaps enough. I think it's a Thursday. Again, so our flagship product is Guardrail. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, it's payment verification, compliance, and accounting, all native for a Bitcoin standard. We need to actually remove dollar from our sentences in our language, perhaps. And anyways, I'd like to open it up to questions.